Hi everyone, Poncho Nicole double knitted, and now we are ready for the shoulders, and also these ones we want to close invisibly. How to do that? Also look at how your stitches are behaving. So look at your V shapes. You take a piece of scrap yarn or from your yarn that you're working on, and you double the yarn and you take a piece of yarn that is hopefully big enough to close the shoulders. So if you want to be sure, just take a long tail. We are going to use it double, and why? Because then we don't have to weave in ends here. I'm going to knit from the arm part of the shoulder to the neck part. And why do I do that? Because when I have closed the shoulders, you can fit the poncho, you can look if it fits over the head. But in case it is too tight or too loose, and mostly in case when it is too tight, you can adjust from the neck part. So you take out a few stitches and then you take a crochet hook and knit another kind of cast off. I will show you that later. What you are going to do, you are going to double. This is the tail I'm going to use, and I'm doubling it. So this is where I have to look at when I pull it into my stitch. And I'm going to look at my shoulder, check if it doesn't twist. I'm going to pull it through, take care it has the same length, and then I'm going to the other part of the shoulder. So this is the front part and this is the back part. So then I'm going to the back. No, I'm explaining it the wrong way. I have to put the other part I have closed over here, and now we are going to seam the front parts together and the back parts. First the front. So I've put the working yarn through, take care it is as long as the other one. I pull it through the front part of the back piece. Also look if it doesn't twist. Don't pull too hard, because the other tail has to be as long. Then you go back into the last stitch you have done into a new stitch. Now you just have to take a closer look. Here is where your yarn was coming out. Here is where the scrap yarn was. Just take care that the stitch doesn't twist. And you're going to the second stitch. Also watch that it doesn't twist. Don't pull too hard at your stitches, and then you can pull out a bit of your scrap yarn and gently pull and make a stitch that is as big as the knit work. Okay, here was my stitch coming out, and in the beginning it is a little hard to see, so that's why I leave my scrap yarn over here. So I go back into that stitch I already have done, and I go to a new stitch. Pull out my scrap yarn. You can also leave your scrap yarn, of course, but I always take it out. I just pull at my stitch and make it as big. As you can see, these stitches become a little bit big, but that will be adjusted when you do the back part. Okay, we go back into the stitch we already have done from the back part. Then you are going to search for a new stitch. You just look if the stitch is not twisted, otherwise we are going to see that. It's a little bit harder to show it for the camera than I thought it would be. So you just maneuver your needle until you find a way and it's capable of you. Okay, this one we already have done. You can see that, or just pull a bit at your, so you can see where it already has been into the stitch. So you do that stitch and then a new one. You can leave your scrap yarn where it is. That's a little help to find the stitch. You pull your working yarn through. Okay, here is where the scrap yarn is. So I know it has to be that one. It's not twisted. So I can put my needle through the V shape. I find this the following. Okay, here is where the scrap yarn was. I have to get back into the stitch I already had done once. I pull my needle through it. It isn't twisted, so I'm going to pull the working yarn through. Okay, so that's what you have to keep in mind. You always have to do a loop twice. So you go back to the other part, find the new stitch, look at it, just pull it a little bit, doesn't matter, and you pull through. This is the second time I'm doing this stitch, and that's what you have to keep in mind when you're doing this. Okay, this is the last one, and now we have done this side. We have done all the stitches. Go back into the old one and knit or sew a new one. Okay. You can leave the scrap yarn, or you just pull gently and take it out. Take care that you don't take the ones from the back part, and pull it out gently. Now, this is part one. When it is too loose, you can adjust it afterwards. Now you are going to remove your needle from the working yarn, and you are going to the back part. Now, as you know, we had a piece of yarn over here, and that's what we are going to use for the second part. From the wrong side. This is the front and this is the back. It is in the stitch of the front part over here, and we are going to look at our stitches, and we are going to move to the other side and just knit it, and then we are going to do that once again to close the side part. So you take this and then you are going to look at your side, and as you can see, this is where the one of the front part is, and then you are going to go over there and you close your side part. So, and now we are going to do the same as we have done on the front, on the good side of the work. Just one stitch. Now we have to do this stitch a second time, and we are going to new stitch. Okay, this is knit, this is seamed once. So we're going back into that stitch, and as long as you look if they are not twisted, it's going to be fine. Okay, here you see it is disappeared a bit, so what you do is just take it out a bit and make it as big as the one on in the row before. So you are capable of seaming it. Okay, we have to go back into the old one for the second time and knit a new one of not knit seam. You can already pull out, of course, the scrap yarn, but that is not necessary. Into the old stitch, into a new one, and just look if it is not twisted. Into the old one, into a knit one, new one. Okay, we're almost there. Old one, the second time, new one, first time. Old one, second time, new one, first time. And as you can see, I've had all my stitches on this side, and now it had to be that here is also the last stitch. Okay, we are going to pull out the scrap yarn nice and gently, and of course it will get stuck. And you get your scissors, you just cut it off and try to remove the yarn as Okay, just have a look. It is still here, so just pull nice and gently. And as you can see, you have now done your shoulder part. Here are the stitches a bit bigger. You're going to check if the other side has that too. No, it hasn't, so it has to be that it is still, because your working yarn is not has been knotted. So you're just going to pull gently at your stitch. Okay, then we are going to close this one. And we wanted to have a nice edge. So you just look. This is the back part and this is the front part, and this is one stitch in between. So you take in between a whole stockinette and you go back to the other side and you close it, so no holes will appear. This is the wrong side of the, that's why I'm always marking, and that's what I didn't do now. So I always know where I have to weave in ends, so I can't make a mistake. I make a knot into it, and of course those will be weaved in. Okay, I hope you had a good look at it, and I hope to see you on the next video, where probably the cowl on how you can adjust a cowl to a poncho will be. Okay, hope to see you next time. Bye bye.